Academic conferences are a strange place. You bring together people under high stress, high competition, ask them to collaborate, they get really drunk, and really the most important thing about a conference doesn't happen in the talks. We'll talk about that in a minute. But before going to an academic conference, you're often asked, do you want to do an oral presentation, like get up in front of experts and talk about your research, or do you want to do a poster presentation where you spend ages producing an A0 poster that no one ever looks at? That is just the reality of doing an academic conference. And the poster sessions aren't bad, don't get me wrong, they can be good, but I have never had a good experience at a poster session. So I always recommend that people opt for oral presentations. Now, everyone that asks for an oral presentation doesn't get one because there's only so many spots, but I have benefited far more from presenting my work to a live audience than I ever have with a poster presentation. Poster presentations are weird. You stand there, you get given a number, you put your poster up, you stand there, people walk by, normally you've got like some sort of drink in your hand, and to be honest with you, no one has ever looked at my poster. They've always come up to me and gone, oh, can you just explain your poster to me? And I end up talking to them anyway. But giving an oral presentation in a 15-minute time slot is far more productive. Now, it is a little bit more scary. People don't like talking to experts, particularly in public, because what if you sound silly? What if you mess up? What if they think your research is rubbish? Well, that is kind of the point of giving a presentation in a conference. You're about to find out, but luckily I can assure you that if you have made it to a conference, your PhD research or your research in general is absolutely fine. Now, I've gone in a couple of times with a presentation that I thought was super high level. It wasn't like nitty-gritty, there wasn't anything amazing as far as I was concerned in there, but it was one of the best received presentations I ever gave. They said, any questions at the end? And everyone put their hand up. Well, not everyone, but a load of people. And I was like, oh wow, this was actually an engaging presentation, because a lot of people, when they give a presentation, they go far too deep, far too quickly. Keep it high level. You've got 15 minutes. They don't need to know everything and get into the nitty-gritty. Keep it simple, keep it short. Go check out my other videos about how to give a presentation about your research, because a lot of people get this very wrong. And at a conference, the question time at the end is so important. You should guard that with your life. The ability to get a room full of people to ask you questions is so very, very important. So make sure you leave the 5 minutes, time your presentation to the minute so that you can receive feedback, get the questions, and invite questions in the break afterwards. So yes, always opt for an oral presentation over a poster presentation, because I believe that is where the most benefit will come from your PhD and your research. But it is a little bit scarier, but that's the price you pay to have an actually kind of successful, engaging academic conference. This video is brought to you by my newsletter. Go check it out at andrewstapleton.com.au/newsletter. The link is in the description. When you sign up to the newsletter, you'll get exclusive content, everything from all of the tools that I use, how to write the perfect abstract, the TEDx talk that I gave, and more. All that content only on that newsletter. Go sign up there. Another thing that you should know about academic conferences is that even though it's kind of the sessions that people are going for, it's like, okay, here is the organic photovoltaic session, here is the material science section, here is blah, blah, whatever it is, those sessions are what people sort of plan their day around. But in fact, it's the stuff that happens outside of that is far more interesting and arguably more useful to you, because the bar, the lunchroom, the poster session when there's no poster session on, those are actually great places to meet people, bump into people, have conversations. The higher up in academia you go, you actually go for conferences for those meetings, to meet up with collaborators, to make sure that you're in the same place at the same time as someone that's important to you in your research or you want to collaborate with. That is really the most valuable thing. Now, when you sort of first go to a conference as a PhD student, choose the streams that you like, choose the streams of research and presentations that you like. like. Also, go check out something else. Check out something you never ever would have looked at otherwise if it wasn't for the fact it was in this conference. And, just use that as a time to explore, understand. But as you kind of go to your second conference, or if you're doing a postdoc, or if you're now an academic researcher, that is when you kind of build relationships. It's all about building relationships with people there at the conference, finding new collaborators, going up to someone and asking, oh, so what do you research? You know the research is kind of related to what you do because you're at the same conference. So in fact, I would say that the most interesting part about a conference is not actually the talks, even though that's what people are there for. It's actually meeting people and talking to people in the lunch times, in the evening social activities, whatever that is. And I really didn't use that to its kind of best when I was an academic researcher. I would just hang out with friends and stuff. And that brings me on to my third point. Remember not to only stick with the people that you are there with. Now, one of the things I really regret when I went to academic conferences and I didn't take the most of the opportunity to kind of just go and find new people, introduce myself to people, go there with a mission. It's easy to stick in familiarity. It's easy to kind of wrap yourself in the warmth of people you know. And, you create these little like circles of looking inwards with your finger food going, oh no, there's other people around, and it's kind of scary. But in fact, an academic conference is a great opportunity for you to go to talk to other people. And quite often I would kind of inject myself into weird circles, weird party circles with party finger food and be like, hi, my name's Andy, and introduce myself. And I know I'm much more extroverted than the typical scientist potentially, but getting past that bit of awkwardness is really easy just by introducing yourself, asking about their research, and then maybe making a new friend along the way. So don't just stick with the people from your lab, because that's not how you get the most out of an academic conference. Some conferences are very broad. So I went to like a chemistry one, which encompassed everything from teaching chemistry to like super hardcore theoretical computational chemistry. And then I've been to like organic photovoltaic ones, which were just about the very specific niche that I found myself in during my PhD and my postdoc. Now, the thing is that I actually preferred the much broader conferences, because this is where you get an opportunity to go and try something completely new. Is something interesting? I actually really enjoyed the teaching elements, the communicating science elements of the bigger conference than the stuff that I sort of knew about already. It's not very often, I'll be honest, that a conference in my field where I've been there, I've been like, oh my God, that is groundbreaking. I normally read about it elsewhere, or, it's just not that interesting. So this is your opportunity to explore a little bit. Explore the fringes of your field. Try to jump into a session or a stream that you would never otherwise get into, and just see if it interests you. A conference, especially a broad conference, is the perfect opportunity to explore, expand your boundaries. And then in a smaller kind of conference, you know what you're getting. You know that you're very much in your bubble, in your field, which is absolutely okay. But if you get an opportunity, go to a very big, a very broad conference, and that is where you could find a new passion, or you could start to find the overlap between your field and something else, and right in the middle is a catalyst for a new idea. Having a mission when you actually go to a conference is very important. When you're in your first year or your second year of your PhD, really the mission is go and try to understand a bit more science, maybe make some connections. Later on in your PhD, your mission could be looking for a postdoc. Go introduce yourself to those bigger professors. Go ask them about opportunities in the lab. It's amazing what being in the same space as someone does. Nothing beats being face to face with someone and, being able to ask them about their research and if they've got any opportunities coming up. I gave a presentation once, and at the end of it, I said, I'm looking for a role afterwards. And I had 2 or 3 people come up and actually sort of talk about that. And so having a mission, talking about and understanding why you're going is very important. So early on, just explore, just create new collaborations, go and enjoy yourself, really. And then as you get further through your PhD, it may be, I'm looking for a job at the end of it, and that's when you can start introducing yourself to the older professors. And then once you've got collaborators, the mission could be to sort of deepen the relationship with a collaborator that's going to the same conference, or looking for new funding opportunities, or looking for new collaborators, or whatever it is. Go with a specific mission. Particularly early on in your PhD, it may just be to find more people in your field so it doesn't feel less lonely, and that's also okay. I used to set myself a mission, and I really recommend you do this as well, that everyone's in the same boat and they kind of like are awkwardly stood there, and some people are on their own. And my rule was that if I made eye contact with someone, I would smile, like my creepy sort of like, hi, I'm an academic smile. And then if they smiled back, I'd go speak to them, or if they at least like didn't look really scared, I'd go and speak to them. So if I made eye contact, I'd go over and speak to them, and then you can be like, hi, blah, 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 and then use like normal conversation skills to talk to them. You don't just go up and go, blah, 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 blah. Making eye contact, go and engage with that person. Even if it's just 5 and 10 or 10 minutes, it doesn't really matter. It's all about being in the space with someone. And I think, COVID put everything virtual, but now the world is opening up again. That face-to-face meeting with other scientists is super valuable. I guess it's because we're just people at the end of the day, and we want social interaction. So there we have it. There are my top tips for how to get the most out of an academic conference. Let me know in the comments what you would add to this. And if this video was useful to you, please remember to give it a thumbs up, and go check out academiainsider.com, where I have my ebook, The Ultimate Academic Writing Toolkit, which I've been getting a load of great reviews about at the moment. It's super helpful, and that's just what I wanted it to be. And also it hosts my Academia Insider forum. So go check it out, and I shall see you in the next video.